Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. Today I want to do some hot takes when it comes to vinyl records. I am probably going to insult some of you, some record store owners, but it's really honestly done with just to have fun and to create discussion. If you disagree with me, that's totally fine. You can leave those comments below. If you agree with me, even better. And some of you record store people, record store owners, I should say, you might not like what I'm going to say at the end, but I'm just speaking from my heart and from experience, okay? So let's get started with the first hot take. Discogs is wrong when it comes to the value of your vinyl collection. I know that sounds terrible. I love, and by the way, I enter all of my records into Discogs. It's a great source. I like Discogs, and this is not a diss on Discogs. But I see the values, the low end, the median, and the high end. And let's face it, when I'm looking at those values and I see the median value and I see the high value, I'm like, oh, wow, that's so cool. My record collection is really worth that much money? No, it really isn't. Now, there's exceptions to the rule. Depends on what kind of collector you are. I think most of us are a little like me. We have some originals. We have some reissues. We have some audiophile records, and we have not originals, but later pressings that are still really old, okay? But they weren't the originals. That's kind of what my collection is made of. And I do tend to focus on the really cool records I own. But for every UK Beatles pressing I have that are first pressings that are really cool and hold value, I have an original Huey Lewis and the News Sports album. Another great album, I love it, but there's a gazillion of them out there and they're not worth a ton of money. They're worth having, but they're not worth it as far as value. Also, Madonna's Like a Virgin, again, another great record, but they sold a gazillion of them. I own an original, but originals aren't that expensive because there's so many of them out there. So, also I have a lot of reissues that I have bought. I like reissues when I can't find an original that's clean or maybe an original that's way too expensive. Sometimes it's just easier to own the reissue. And for every cool reissue I buy, like this one, it's Funkadelic. This is a really new release. I bought the 45 RPM version from the In Groove record store, and it was on orange vinyl. 45 RPM sounds absolutely amazing. And it is in Discogs right now. And it's selling because this copy was a very limited in numbers, sold out. If you want to buy this particular version of this record, it's already up in value. It might stay that way. It might go down. You never know. But I think, I got a good deal because I paid just the regular retail price for it, and now it's selling for $20 to $30 more than that. For every record or reissue I have that falls into that category, I probably have 30, 40, maybe 50 reissues that fall more into this one. In Excess X. This is a 2024 reissue on red vinyl. It currently sells for, on average, $25 on Discogs, and that's probably if you have a sealed copy. So, if I wanted to sell mine on Discogs and list it, mine's already opened. Mine has a slight warp, which I would have to disclose and let people know. Do you think I'm going to get $25 for a record that's already open and has a slight warp? $25 is what's showing on the median price right now. I wouldn't get that. I couldn't ask that. I would have to ask for less because mine has a slight warp and because it's already opened. So I wouldn't get my money, but that's what's counting towards the median price right now. I'm not going to get that for that. So I would already, on just one record alone, take a loss. Here's another one. Black Sabbath, We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll. Mine is the Walmart exclusive on green vinyl. Well, these reissues, a lot of them are like subway trains or whatever. You miss one, there's one coming right after it. There is a Rhino Rocktober release that's coming out, and it's the same record on green vinyl, same thing. I don't know if the mastering is different or not. I don't know. But it's basically another reissue. So a lot of these reissues, this on average sells for $29. Most of them are still sealed when they sell them for about $40. Mine is already open. I mean, why would you go on Discogs, buy my used already open copy, pay the shipping, when you can go to Rhino, Rocktober, buy the same thing. It's going to be brand new. I mean, these records are not appreciating in value. Every time you open them and play them, they're going down in value. I understand that some like that Funkadelic, and some reissues are just done so well and they get such a reputation that they're going to be worth a lot more money. And I have some of those. Most of them, though, are like the Black Sabbath record and this In Excess record that I have. And they're just not going to be worth as much. And so I have to take that into account. And just think about like this one. Let's just say I wanted to take this one to a record store to get cash for it. On average, it's selling for $29 on Discogs. What do you think a record store is going to give me? They're not going to give me $29. They're going to probably give me $10, $12. They have to double their money, and it's already opened, so they have to account for that as well. I would say if you're a different kind of collector than me and you focus on originals like this beauty, this is one of my favorite originals I own. I just absolutely adore this record, and I love having an original of it. There's just something special. If you have records like this, the song At Last is going to be played at every wedding for the rest of eternity. So everybody's going to know Etta James, At Last. This record is going to be a classic that a lot of people will always want to have. If they have records and they want to decorate their house with them, have just some cool records around, this would be one they would want. Or I think also first pressings of jazz records from the 50s are still going to hold value. I know that I kind of gauge things with my daughter a little bit. And I know that when sometimes we go to her house, we're visiting, she will have on her TV where she goes to YouTube. And there's like pictures of a very inviting scene in a cafe. And there's a roaring fire and it's raining outside and it's a beautiful cafe. And it'll play about an hour and a half of jazz music. That's something she likes to have on her TV as she's just going about her day in her house. So I think jazz records, if you are one of those people who bought and sought out those originals and they're really clean, you're probably in a different shape than most of us. But I would just again say, don't trust Discogs prices when it comes to your records. Maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised. If you ever want to sell your records and you call a record store and they come to your house, you are paying a convenience for them to come there and make a guesstimate of what they think they can sell your records for. They'll look through everything. The beauty of it is they would also box everything up and take it away. But you're not going to get that price you see on Discogs. Look more towards the low end. The low prices of everything. And maybe even lower than that. You might not get even the low asking price or the low price you see on Discogs. So I think a lot of us get this inflated idea of how much our records are worth. And I will be honest with you guys, and this is where I hope this gives you a little encouragement. This is how I think about it. I don't plan on selling my records anyway. Maybe I'll change my mind in 10, 15, 20 years. But where the value is for me in my record collection is that I go into this music room. I love what I have built. It is the idea. I love coming in here and putting on a record, sitting on my couch. And this will sound weird, but I love just being surrounded by my music. I love having these shelves with all this music around me. I come in here sometimes and I just like to browse and see what I have. I love the memories I have of building this collection with my husband. Once our daughter moved out, every weekend we would go an hour, 2 hours away to different cities around looking at record stores, anywhere that sold vinyl records. And that's how I built my collection. The value of this collection is built on the memories of building it and the listening enjoyment. So, you know, it's kind of a hot take. Don't expect to get what Discogs says your record collection's worth. Instead, for me, and I hope for you too, the value lies in the enjoyment of how you've been able to find records, the fun of the dig, and listening to your music in your own music room. This next hot topic, or hot take, I should say, is one that y'all aren't going to like. And I don't like saying it either. It pains me to say this. The bands that I love today in 10 to 20 years are going to be forgotten. They're not going to be remembered to a great degree. And I don't like saying that. And I, of course, got to take out the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin. Yeah, they're not going to ever completely go away. But they are slowly fading a little bit. You know, for every 50 fans of those bands from years ago, there's probably 30 today, 25 today, you know? The bands I'm going to be talking about, for example, and so many, let me just go ahead and show you the ones I'm talking. These are the ones that came to mind, and I love these bands. You all know I do. I've talked about them. The band Sweet. I love them. I really do. But let's face it, my daughter is going to barely, maybe know them. And if she knows them, it's because she's heard Ballroom Blitz on a commercial, or maybe even Fox on the Run. She's not going to know this album, Give Us a Wink, with this amazing cover. Let me just show you this. I mean, you know, I just think that's one of the coolest album covers of all time. But she doesn't care anything about this record, and nobody of her generation will. And if I have grandkids, they're not going to care either. Sweet is a great band that brings a lot of great memories for me, but they're not going to stand the test of time. I'm sorry to say that, and I know you all won't want to hear that. Here's another one that just kind of came to mind. The Outfield. This is a really cool record, and I have great memories of sitting outside, laying in the sun with my girlfriend, playing this record and talking about boys. We actually, a cassette, if I'm being really specific. But the music on here is fantastic. This is my original copy. It's really not going to be worth a lot in the future, and my reissue from Music on Vinyl really isn't going to be worth a lot in the future. Because let's face it, people my age adore that album. That was their biggest album. The other records after that didn't sell as well, although they had some success. You know, they're just not the Beatles. They're not a band that people like my daughter are going to care about, and certainly not her future children or your future grandchildren are going to care about. And I hate to say that, but it's true. A lot of bands we grew up loving aren't going to matter. And let's face it, after my daughter's gone, or her children, if she has any, who's going to know who I was? You know, it's kind of the same thing. And that's okay. They served their wonderful purpose while I was a teenager, while I was a kid. And that's good enough, you know. They were popular for a moment. I don't know that they're going to last a lifetime in the way, let's just put it this way. For every, like say 50 people my age who are into the Outfield and care about them, there might be one, maybe, in a future generation that's going to care about them like we did. But that's okay. They served their purpose and had their moment, and there's nothing wrong with that. The next hot take I am going to talk about hits right to record store owners. And if you don't agree with me or you want to give some reasons why you do things you do, that's okay. I'm a big girl and you leave those facts for me and I will take it. But my hot take about record stores. You have the nastiest bathrooms ever. I don't know of a nastier bathroom. And you know what? Yes, a lot of record stores have to be in old buildings. They're cheaper to rent. And I understand you're not in it to get rich. It's for the love of music. You have a record store. And bless you. I grew up poor, you guys. I know the difference between old and dirty. Old and dirty is a terrible combination, but old and clean is okay. And honestly, if you would just leave those Lysol wipes, I would clean your bathroom for you before I used it. I get really sick of going into record stores. And like I said in the past, my husband and I used to travel and we would drive 2 hours to do a day of record store digging. Well, guess what? In those 2 hours, we drank some coffee. At least for me, I'll go into a record store and all of a sudden I can't concentrate on records. I gotta go to the bathroom, you know? And it's really frustrating to go in and you feel like you need a hazmat suit on in order to use your restroom. There's no excuse, you know, it's okay if it's old. It's not okay if it's dirty. And what's even worse is a lot of you record store owners. You're in your own separate buildings and we come in there and we gotta use the restroom. And you tell us, we don't have a restroom. You'll have to go a couple blocks to this gas station or a couple blocks to this restaurant to use their restroom and then come back and buy my records. I'm going to be honest with y'all. If it's a mall, that's a totally different story. If you have a record store in a mall, because there's public restrooms right there. If you're connected to other stores and there's a public restroom for everyone to use, you're off the hook. But if you have your own separate building, there's no way you don't have a restroom. And we all know you're lying to us. We know you have a restroom. You just don't want us to use it. And I get that. I used to work at a video store where I was 20 years old. And in the dead of winter, when it was pitch black outside, at 8:45, when we would close at 9, some weirdo would come in wanting to use our restroom. And I would be horrified. But I would let them do it because they had to go. It's human. It's human nature, right? And I had some safety precautions while I worked there. I get that it's uncomfortable, but you have to provide a place for your customers to go. Some of us travel a long way to come to your store. Clean your restrooms. And if you have one, let us use it. Figure out a way so we don't have to go. For one, I can't even imagine how the restaurant feels when someone from your record store just comes to their bathroom and uses it and doesn't buy anything from that restaurant and then just leaves. That's rude. But yet, in so many stores, that's what you all are expecting us to do. So let me know what you think about these hot takes. Do you agree Discogs gives you an overinflated idea of what your record collection is really worth? Do you agree that sadly some of these bands are not going to be remembered in the way we would like them to be? And also, let me know, is it annoying to go to a record store with a disgusting bathroom or no bathroom at all, so to speak? Let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Hit the like button and the notification bell. Most importantly, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.